I'm saying? Lowering the entropy, but not, lowering it to the point of where we're entangled again, but there's a sense of entanglement because we're entangled in this Maya representation of possibilities. The entanglement of these particles again. And like I was saying beforehand, particle entanglement, spooky entanglement at a distance and so on and so forth. The information that's being communicated between two particles, no matter how far apart those particles are in time and space, they'll still communicate as they did when that communication was first initiated. And that's Maya. You know what I'm saying? That's the basis of why certain aspects, certain configurations, and certain substances, likes simulate, and then opposites attract. It's the electromagnetic aspect. So you can see this throughout the universe as being, this cause and effect. I mean, down from the energetic state to the chemical state to the expression of that chemical state in relationship to the manifestation of matter. The bonds that are responsible for the manifestation are of matter, and then the addition of mass in relationship to the configuration of whatever matter comes together in relationship to the atomic structure, down to the molecular structure, down to the atomic structure, down to the particle structure, the interaction, the constituents, and how those constituents interact with one another on a very, and it's logical, and it's all very logical. Our universe operates on a very logical model. So again, the foundation of all things in existence is still knowledge. I'm not saying that it's not knowledge, because it's the acts upon that knowledge, that is that information, which is the foundation of all things, that leads to wisdom. It's the experience with knowledge. And that's what I mean when it's like, okay, when a woman or when wisdom recognizes knowledge is of a right sound of nature, it's beholden of wisdom to act upon that right sound nature and then live by it. That's the living principle. See, that gives life. See, it's the woman that bores life to this, or the feminine principle that bores life or gives life to these principles, because it's determined now, I'm going to live by this. So it's the living principle that is a law. The principles are living. The law is living. That's why you call it Lord, because it's a living manifestation of the law. It's an action upon the information. And then there's an understanding derived from it. Things are materialized. A word, a logic, a reason, a circuit is created. 1 to 3. And then 6. And then, 9, and the knowledge of that is back to 0, 360. So, and okay, that is a trinary concept versus the binary concept, a linear concept. But even trinary is a non-linear concept. You know what I'm saying? Our non-linear computer, our programming systems in relationship to editing work on a pseudo-trinary, concept. Not binary, it's still binary, it's not trinary by any stretch of the imagination, but as far as sequencing is concerned, that things are out of sequence. So when I was saying that earlier, binary, Asian, trinary, and then, African quantum, I might have misspoke. Right brain, left brain interaction on a binary level, right brain, left brain interaction on a trinary level, and then right brain, left brain interaction on a quantum level, but using terms that I got from Mikio Kaku's book, Wetware instead of hardware. And so, even though we're utilizing these program systems that are utilized, because on whatever dimensional frequency you are, and that's the direct result of physiology, the energy or the frequency produced, and Fritzra. Okay, so we got to go back to this thing called Fritzra in relationship to the to Islam and Islam's uh, religious uh, um, um, dogma viewpoint and relationship, because you can't receive direct revelation from Allah in relation in the Islamic, you know, theological system or doctrine. It can only be downloaded by way of fitra. Now, as far as we're concerned, that the fitra is the frequency, and the frequency is determined by um, uh, uh, the broadness of the band. And the broadness of the band is determined by how much information is available. The epistemology determines how broad one's band is, how much information they're capable of receiving at any given time from any external source in relationship to feedback loop, non-local or local. Is all determined upon the soundness of an individual epistemology. That is fitra. It determines the broadness of the broadness of one's frequency band, the karmic value to each frequency band also, and you can relate that to the chi concept or the parental chi concept in relationship to and then for genetics in relationship to Taoism, that you're given a certain amount of energy, or your frequency has a certain, the amp voltage, you know what I'm saying, all that kind of shit that I was talking about earlier, is then you know what I'm saying, a part of engineering shit. You know, that again, and this is why 12-dimensional mind space works, because 12-dimensional mind space is from a particle level all the way up, from wave level all the way to a particle level. It's applicable to the way in which a outside observer manipulates as an observer through faculties or facilities a third party space. It's also 12 dimensional mind space can also be utilized in relationship to creating third spaces, you know what I'm saying, between work and home. So 12-dimensional mind space is, you know what I'm saying, a viable, and you add fucking a particle fucking, and I mean, if I hadn't seen that on fucking Instagram, I wouldn't have thought about it like that. I mean, you know how much experience I have. I mean, I've had, like, by that time I had like 20 some odd years, almost 30 years combined of experience with 12-dimensional, with 12-dimensional mind space. As a marketing, or as a, you know what I'm saying, as you use it as slippage, I mean, there's so many different ways that you utilize it in 12-dimensional mind space in marketing and in resale, period. 12-dimensional mind space is so fucking, you know, prevalent in mind space. You get up to management, you can't get away from 12-dimensional mind space. You can't get away from the concept, but to add it to, like, who decided to do that shit? Particle wave theory. And once I saw it in relationship to particle wave theory, I'm like, what the fuck? It works within and it's a string theory. Now, you added the particle wave theory, it's a string theory. And by the time I've been pretty familiar with particle wave theory and string theory. So, the combination of the two. And this also works with group psychology. You use 12-dimensional space in relationship because there's a desirable outcome, and you can use 48 laws of power in relationship to use and misuse, obtruse use, and acute use. You know, in relationship to balance of use. And in the determination of the validity of, and you see, these are the three jewels, the three jewels of Buddhism. You can use it to determine the validity of any type of group in relationship to what it says it does versus what it actually does. See, I never really actually thought of Siddhartha's teaching from the standpoint of Sun Tzu and how well Siddhartha's teachings work in a Sun Tzu application. That Sun Tzu It's just the war version or a world application because, again, Buddhism is just fucking game theory. Four-dimensional mind space is game theory, which is chaos theory, which is Pascal's probabilities, which is, you know, Heisenberg's principle of uncertainty. There are certain realities you can't escape, and you can so many different dynamics you can or parameters or so many this it's a limited amount not a limited there actually is an unlimited amount of parameters. It's just that those parameters are just an infinite, not unlimited, infinite. And I know infinite sounds unlimited. No, infinite means recycle. And you can recycle these possibilities over and over and over again, over and over and over again is what infinite is an infinite use of a limited amount of energy and time, space, because what the possibilities that have, that's the way you can have infinity. That's, oh, god damn it, that's so fucking. So the more you think, it's that neural circuit, man.